Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 36. Are you ready to join the clan today? Today we have Ajay Prasad. He's a serial entrepreneur, a successful business strategist, and served organization rank among the top 10 of Fortune 500 companies. He's the founder and the president of GMR Web Team, a leading Orange County digital marketing agency dedicated to help business maximize revenue from the internet. Also owns a GMR Transcription, a seven-figure web-based business and award-winning transcription and translation company, which he founded in 2004. Hello, AJ.
Hi, Patience. Good to talk to you.
Thank you for coming. I know the clan here is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, what you did before you started your business, take up right up to the last job or the business you did before you were online?
Sure. So you want me to tell you about my background?
Yes, please.
Sure. So, first thing, I'm a first generation immigrant. I came from India, to go to grad school in business school in Georgia. Actually, now I live in California, in Orange County. And after my education, I took the typical route. I went and I worked for corporations. And I worked for some very large corporations, and I was also kind of fortunate that I moved up very quickly in corporations. So in my literally like 6th, 7th year of my experience, I was already a vice president of a major billion-dollar company. So that gave me a lot of exposure, really, to the whole business. When the larger companies, unfortunately, if you are at the lower level, you do not have the visibility of how a business is run, because you are just given one task and that's what you're supposed to do. But because I moved up quickly, so I learned overall about business, and one of my strength always was strategy, and part of the reason was, frankly, I loved doing that also. So that was always you can say, my foundation. So, and the analytics aspect of business, like looking at programs, see what is working, what's not working, strategy, coming up with the strategy based on the information, market information, research information. That was always my, you can say, forte when I was there. And, I had several positions, including I was a product manager or head of the major product, with the vice president of product for a major consumer electronic products. I have been division head, small division of a very large company. I have, headed the .com company in the .com boom. So I had a lot of, I have been kind of in the major, you can say, overall management for a long time. But again, my anchor was always a strategy and, and the research and analysis. So about 12 years back, when I decided that I'm done with the corporate world, I have paid my dues, and I wanted to do something on my own, then naturally I decided to anchor my business on my strength. So I started, you can say, a consulting company. And very quickly I realized that I didn't want to be a consultant. It was just you are selling your hours, and that's not, I wanted to really build a business. So while doing consulting, I could see that there was a need for online strategy. Remember, 12 years back, very few people understood even the value of online. I mean, I cannot tell you how many businesses, when they talk to me, they would say, why do I need a website? Mm-hmm. So that was that era. It was in the very beginning of online. So so I liked working with small businesses because number one, they had no agenda, which I loved, other than to do well for their business. And then second, also interestingly, the small businesses, you can show results on digital investment start to show up very quickly, rather than for a very large company, which is a very it's one of those realities of life. Uh, so I focused on the small businesses, and during that time, as I was helping, small businesses, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, I started to get contacted by several entrepreneurs, or I would say wannabe entrepreneurs, who wanted to create a web-based business. Now, having a web-based business has a lot of advantages. Like the biggest advantage is that the cost of starting the business is much, much, much lower than, for example, brick and mortar. And that was true even 12 years back. Now it is even minuscule. It's much lower now. Uh, and uh, and then I had the experience that I could really help entrepreneurs. So as I started to entertain them and I started to listen to their questions, I realized that I have to have some hands-on experience before I can charge someone money and to help them build their web-based business. And that is how the GMR transcription was invented. I sort of always knew that there was a need for transcription service by marketing consultants. I mean, I really severely underestimated the market, but at least I knew that there was a market for marketing consultants for transcription services, because typically they always record the meetings. And then there was no easy solution. So I already had a team. So I spent $1,000 to start GMR Transcription. This was totally based on the web, and the premise was very simple. You need to get your transcription done. You just come in and upload your voice file, and then the transcriber will download. And when the transcriber transcribes it, you get it, and then you pay for it. Now, we did all the management to make sure that the transcriber gets it, downloads it, make sure that the quality is good and all that. And for that, of course, we charged our client more and paid a smaller amount to the transcriber because we had in between costs. And I was not, like I said, I was not thinking that it has a very big demand. I thought that it can do 6 figures in 2-3 years. So that's what my thinking, and and I figured that even if it does 5 figures business, then at least I have something that I would have tested so that I can help my clients. Now, when we started doing our marketing, which I was holding from offering to the clients because I was not sure how effective it will be, the business just took off, and it reached a point very quickly, I would say in 2 years, where I had to have a separate team who was just managing that business, because remember, that's not my primary business. And I'm always involved in marketing and strategy piece of it, but for the execution, I was totally not involved. So I hired a team to run it, and then of course I have the experience of managing a team from my corporate world. So I ended up getting some really wonderful people there. I totally lucked out, and the business just took off. So in 3-4 years, when I was thinking that the business will, in 4 years it will probably hit 6 figures. Actually, it hit 7 figures. It hit 6 figures in literally like year 2, and for the last 6 years now, it is a 7-figure business. It is managed by a small team of 2.5 people. Like I said, I get involved in the strategy and marketing, and I spend maybe, I would say, 30 minutes a week on that business, and it runs it on its own. And this became now my example to my the entrepreneurs who wanted to come in and become an entrepreneur, online, web-based business, who wanted to start it. And I said, hey, here's the example. You can make a very good living. I mean, there's no reason why this transcription business cannot grow to the next level. Uh, but again, in order for that to happen, I have to um, totally focus on that business, and that's not my passion, to be very honest. I love what I do for GMR Web Team. So that's where it is. And because I created this business where I saw that there was a need for it. So in between, I have also created. So I have, like, right now, 3 other web-based businesses at different stages of development, of business cycle. And one is kind of stable, and it does not, it generates like 5 figures revenue every year, but I don't have to do anything. And then there's another one that was launched last year, and then another one I launched it just early this in January. And all these are, like I said, is always related to what I do. So I see a market need, and if there's a niche, then I will create it. And that is what the process that I always suggest to the entrepreneurs in terms of what they do. I mean, I have been almost, you can say, I have definitely been a mentor to a couple of wannabe entrepreneurs who have come to us, and although they have not been very successful for different reasons, nothing to do with their business idea, but yeah, I've been helping as much as I can, and I enjoy helping entrepreneurs.
Wow, that's a great background, AJ. You've been around everything, you've done everything. Now we think that now you have all these 3 other companies, you have been successful. Did you ever have any failures or setbacks while setting up your businesses?
Yeah, well, you always have that. The most of the setback happened in the beginning because I was learning at that time. And I made some very typical mistakes that now I tell people not to do. So,
We would
so
like to know those mistakes.
yeah, and I'll share with you. But so that was in the beginning. I did a lot of things wrong, and to be very honest, I think it impeded my business by at least 3-4 years. If I knew what I know now, and started it, my business would be on at a different level. For example, when I launched GMR Web Team, my first company, I made a lot of mistakes, and it took me literally, I think 4 or 5 years to break even on their business. GMR Transcription, I lucked out also, like I said, with some really good people, and the demand was much bigger than I originally thought. So, but there I was literally making a profit, modest profit from 6 months on. And then the last 3 businesses that I have started, I never lost money. From the get go, because now I know what to do first, right? How to validate the market, make sure that I have sales before I start making investment. Very first time I went and I hired a team and everything, and then I am kind of offering my service. That was crazy. So I will tell you the biggest mistakes that I made was not defining my my service. So I made it very broad. Digital marketing is like everything. Then the second big mistake I made was not defining my customers. So essentially, rather than saying that who is the right customer for me, I would take anyone who walked into the door, right, or called me. And then what happened that many of those customers were, they did not understand the value of anything of the of digital marketing. So first 3-4 years, I realized that. So in fourth year, when I did an introspection, I realized that I'm spending 80% of my time on 10% of the customers who are unhappy. Okay. And because I was dealing only with unhappy customers, I was frustrated. I thought that I'm in the wrong business because I cannot keep my customers happy. So when I took a serious analysis, I realized that 90% of my customers were very happy, and I'm spending all my time on this 10 unhappy customers. And when I started to look at who are the happy customers and who are the unhappy customers, it became very clear to me why they were unhappy. They were wrong kind of customers for me. So what I did is, first thing I sat down and I kind of, you can say, defined who is my best customer, ideal customer that I want. And then I went out and I resigned all these, I would say, non-ideal, unhappy customers. And I didn't blame them. I just told them that we are the wrong team. We are the wrong company to provide those services. So we resigned, about, I would say, 7, 8 accounts. And things turned around after that immediately, because now when I was talking to someone who wanted to be my customer, I would make sure, and then I would be very upfront and say, I think we are either the wrong company and the right company. And then there are customers who have come in who I knew were the right company, and I have literally, on digital marketing, for example, we got a customer in the medical field, which we never had one, and a very significant company. Now, talking to the management team, I knew that they were the right company, but they were not sure about me being the right company for vendor for them, because of, we didn't have experience in that area. Now, I felt so strongly about that I literally offered them a guarantee. So it's like, hey, you know what? Let's do this. Here's the fee. Give me 4 months, and if we do not succeed, and not only that, you can cancel it, I will refund the fee also. And it was because I told them that it is so strong. Now, frankly, even if I had to return the fee, I ended up not having to return it. They are just thrilled. They are still one of my best customer. But even if I had to, for me, that was the experience and the marketing cost. So now there's another vertical market that someone has come in, and I'm offering them first 6 months at half my price. Now I'm literally going to be losing money for the first 6 months, but it doesn't matter, because to me it is a marketing cost. They are the ideal customer. I know that I can get more customers like that. So I would rather work on a real customer, show the results, and then contact other people, rather than use that money to just advertise and hope that I will get someone who will believe me. So again, once you start to know who you want your customer to be, the rest of the things become very clear. So those are the biggest mistake that I made, is defining. Now I'm very clear about what I offer. There was a time, because, and this is what, frankly, all the entrepreneurs make this mistake. Because remember, one of the job I had was a CEO, but one of the, couple of jobs I had was a VP of marketing for everything. So I did start taking projects. Someone would come in and say, you know what, I need to write a business plan, and I will take it. And it was distracting from my core competency. I was spending more time because I was not as good at writing a business plan compared to doing a marketing strategy. So that it sucks up your time and energy. And then again, because you are not dealing with your strength, you are not going to have a thrilled client. So those are the lessons that I learned. And now I tell new entrepreneurs, to their surprise, that you need to turn this down, because they will, especially the ones that I'm kind of mentoring, a couple of those people, they call me and they say, hey, I have this opportunity. And I say, well, if I was in your shoes, I would say no. And it is very surprising to them, because, frankly speaking, they are struggling right now. They would rather have that revenue. And I'm telling them that in the long run, you are going to be really, you are doing disfavor to you. So again, that is the big thing that I've learned. And then the other thing that I did learn, there was one project that I started, and I should have, which did not work, but just I stuck on it for way too long. So the other thing, that's what I've said, is having a test plan, knowing when you say it is successful versus not successful. And I have a mantra now that says, if you have to fail, fail quickly, fail cheaply, because you will fail.
Okay.
There is no, I don't know of anyone who has done everything and everything has worked. So you will fail, but make sure that have a process so that when you fail quickly and you fail cheaply.
So how long do we have to really know that, this plan is not working? What do you advise? Like 2 months, 6 months? When do we
It,
really run out
it,
of the project?
it, you see, there is no timing, patience. So this is how I do that, right? So now, so if I have a new product, then I sit down and initial strategy is who is my right customer, where we find them, right? Where they congregate so that we can go and get them. And my test is very simple. Even when the product is, the product has to be working, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And I am also a big believer that perfection is a journey. You never have anything that is perfect. So you are always improving anyway. But so long I have a prototype, something that is working, I go and market it. And now in the era of internet, it is very easy to market. You can do AdWords. So, a few $1,000s, uh, if your product has appeal and what customers are saying. And then once you have customers and they start to use it and your product or your service and they give you feedback, then you go and make improvement. So literally, if planned correctly, you shouldn't have take more than 3 months to decide it's going to work or not. So that is that is the reality now. So you have, and you can, even if you already have a product and you want to test it, it shouldn't take more than 6 weeks to know that it is working or not. How successful this is going to be, whether to pursue or not. So that's where I'm saying is, if something is not going to work, and in 6 weeks you know that it's not going to work, you have saved a lot of time and money so that you can focus on things that will work. Now, generally speaking, if I have rarely seen something that will just flat out not work, because the entrepreneurs always have a reason why they want to do this, but it is almost universal. I would say 99.9%. Once you have a product or service and once you test it, it requires like a major, you can say, revision. So you say, oh, okay, we have to add this new features. We have to, add this service. Here is where I am missing. So again, if, you have it already helped yourself push the business further by, even testing it. So that is where that's my suggestion. That's what I tell people who come to me. And like I said, I do get entrepreneurs come to me and say, this is a web-based business idea. But then I am also very upfront about telling them whether it will work or not, because you have. I always say the 90% of the success of a business is persistence. So do you have the ability to stay long enough in that business so that you see what's working, what's not working, and you can make adjustments as needed, and then and work. So I always ask people how long you think that you can stay without income, because I have had people who have come to me and say, I need to start making income in 3 months, and I said, I don't think it will happen. And she gave me example of 10 other people who said that, yeah, you can start in 3 months, you can start making enough money to take care of your daily expenses. And she of course did not believe me, and I warned her that she shouldn't do it, because 3 months later she will be down all the money that she has. And but of course, people who believe, they believe, and I have not met her again, but I hope that I was wrong there. But generally speaking, you need to be able to stick around, have a realistic plan. And that's what I always tell. I have even one person that I mentor, and I'm always kind of frustrated. He's so optimistic that he's like right now, for example, this is a software as a service business. So right now his subscription is about $6,000 per month. And he's like, in 6 months, I have to get it to $50,000. And in 1 year, I have to get it to 200,000.
Oh, it's
And
very fast.
yeah, and I tell him it's not going to happen. I said, listen, I'm sure that you have heard these stories and you have read all these case studies of the companies that managed to do it. But you have to also research what kind of money they had that they spent to to get to that level. Of course, in my corporate funded world, yes, $1 million a year. If I didn't say that this new concept will make $1 million a year, they won't even fund it. But then I would have few $1 million of marketing budget also, which very few entrepreneurs have. So that's why you have to be realistic in terms of what is your budget. When people come to me, even the small business owner, and they ask me, how much do you charge for digital marketing? And I turn around, I say, what is your budget? And they always think it's a trick question so that I can charge more money. And I explain to them that, no, you see, you tell me the budget, then I can formulate what we can do within that budget, and how soon you can start to get return on investment that is more positive return on investment. So the goal always for marketing should be that if you are spending $10,000, your profit from that marketing should be more than $10,000. So I'm like, but unfortunately, someone with a budget of $20,000, the chances are I can get them to start getting positive return from second month, versus someone with a budget of 2,000 may have to wait for 7-8 months before they start to see the return. So it's a very marketing is that way very difficult, and it's not intuitive as people would think, because a lot of small business owners, entrepreneurs, totally focus on the fee or the cost of marketing. And I always try to tell them that you should be focused on the return on investment on marketing, not the cost, because if you have zero return, then it doesn't matter. Even if you're spending $200, it's a waste. So that's where it is, and these are things that I learned firsthand. Now when someone comes in and all of a sudden proposes something that is going to cost me $25,000 to market, I don't automatically say, sorry, I cannot do that because it doesn't, I don't have money. My question always is, let's discuss return on investment. What do you think that this will do? And if I am convinced that this $25,000 investment will get me more than $25,000 for my business, guess what? I will, beg, borrow, steal, but I will figure out how to come up with that amount, that money.
Wow. Oh, okay. I know Declan is anxious to hear about how you go through this even in part 2, but for us, what do you think is your reason for your online success?
So, there are a couple of them. I think that the number one reason, of course, is that, yes, there was a need for the service that I was offering, right? Either transcription or, digital marketing, or even the other, like I said, 2-3 online web-based business that I have. Definitely, there was a need. And like I said, I'm telling you about the 4 or 5 that is working. I'm not telling you about the 15 that did not work also. So yes, so first thing is quickly finding out whether there's a demand or not was the first thing that I would say is the success. The second thing is getting the product as quickly as possible in the hands of my customers. Okay, and then make adjustment based on their feedback, rather than just imagine all the things that will be need, because then there's no limit to it, and try to do something. So that was the second thing that I would give my the reason to. And the third and not the least is you have to have a marketing program that you are evolving, you are working on it on a totally ongoing basis, so that it becomes more and more effective. For example, my budget for marketing for GMR Transcription has been the same, around $5,000 a month from the get-go. But you can imagine that the sales that I'm generating from the same investment is now literally 15 times more than what it was on the first year, right? And it's not by accident. I'm not doing the same thing on marketing that I was doing on year one. So the idea is that you have to do the analysis. You have to have that in terms of what is working, what's not working, and evolve there. And then the last thing I always tell people, you should have a great customer service. It does not matter you're a web-based business or brick and mortar or whatever. Customer will be calling you. There is no business that it's just in the books and the myths. The people who are writing books about these things are the ones who are making money, not the entrepreneurs. There is no online business where you just create it and make money. It doesn't work. Wow. It used to work maybe 15 years back because there were things like Google AdSense and all that. So it to an extent, to a small extent, it did work long time back. Nowadays, it has to be a real business. You have to devote all your time to that business to be successful. Customer will be calling you. So if you are thinking about a business where you don't want to talk to a customer, probably won't happen. So have a great customer service. Be very responsive to the customer need, and it will work.
Wow. Okay. So, Clan, AJ is going to hang out and share more information about his journey with us. If you can relate where AJ started his journey so far, or if you just want to learn more about AJ, you can listen to the extended version of his journey at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you are at the journey, by clicking on part 2 of AJ's journey, you will get even more tips to help you with your own journey. And you can access all our journey podcasts there. So check out AJ's program at www.gmrtranscription.com. So that's a wrap, Clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and AJ. Join us in part 2 at onlinesuccessjourney.com.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.